Hi, I'm Chad. In the fall of 2020, I bought this boat, a Columbia 10.7 called Samantas, for $750. We motored her south to her new home at Chipman Point Marina on Lake Champlain. She is now undergoing a complete refit in preparation to begin sailing the world. Good morning, guys. Another beautiful day over here at the marina. We're going to get into the galley this week. If you saw last week's episode, we took the head apart and got it ready to refit. So this week we're going to jump into the galley. All right, let me take you in, show you what I got accomplished last week, and then we'll move into what's happening this week. Before we jump into this galley project, I want to do an overview of what I got accomplished last week. When I bought this boat last fall and we motored it south, there was no working starter in the boat. The one that was in here, you turn the key, nothing happens. So we were hand cranking this thing to start it. It's good to be able to do that, but boy, is it a lot of work. What you have to do is crack the throttle at the helm. There's decompression valves on the two cylinders on the Q2M20 MR engine. So you need to decompress the two cylinders. It's one lever connected to both valves. Crank the engine over with a hand crank, just like starting an old Model T. And you crank that thing as fast as you can get it going, and then pop the decompression valve closed. If it comes over top dead center, then it'll start running. It's good exercise. Glad to have that as an option. I'm also glad to not have to use it all the time. I got the batteries disconnected right now, but I'm going to see if I can get something connected to test the system, see if the starter is going to crank, and see if the engine turns over. That's first, and then we'll get into the galley, take that all apart. Let me show you the starter. So Yamaha starters are not rebuildable. Well, they are. The gear drive portion is good, everything else can be done. Mine, it was functioning. He said he could rebuild it, but it probably wouldn't last very long. So this company here, they make a really nice replacement high torque conversion. So basically they build this piece on the end here, machined for specific applications, and it attaches to the starter. They're good, very high torque, reliable starters. And I trust the guy that does this work. He's a Dave starter and alternator in Lebanon, New Hampshire. Very awesome guy. I've been dealing with him for a long time. Best. I've tried other shops because maybe they're a little closer. Dave's is the place to go if you're around here, or even if you're not around here. He's just really, really good at what he does, and he uses really high quality parts. A lot of people, when they rebuild things, will use inexpensive parts. Dave only buys the best that's available, and you're going to get a really long life out of anything that he rebuilds for you. I need to remove the stairs here. That's where the engine is, so I'll get that out, give you a look at that. We'll hook the starter back up and see what happens. The companionway steps are out. And there's the engine compartment on this boat. I have installed the new starter. This connection right here, that's the accessory wire that doesn't go direct to the battery. It needs to be wired properly. It's got some waterproof tape twisted together for now. There was a different connector on the end plugging into the new starter, so I had to improvise there. So that's all put together. This is just temporary. I just dropped them in here. They're not sitting level. Everything is wired up. And then these batteries have been sitting all winter but disconnected. And if you go to the voltmeter, one battery, 12 volts. 12 volts. So we have the power. Everything is on. It's the moment of truth. Let me climb up out of here, shut the generator off, make sure the throttle quadrant is closed. I'm going to leave the decompression valves open because I don't want this to start. I just want to see if it's going to crank and see if my electrical system from the ignition switch up there is all functioning. So it may be, something might be wrong in there also. I'm going to shut the generator off. I'm going to hop up there and we're going to give it a test. So in this case, we don't want it to start. Transmission is in neutral. That's neutral. I think that's off. I think that's full throttle. Here's the control panel. Turn the key on. Lights are working. Fuel pump is pumping. See if it cranks. No. Still not cranking. Huh. So we have some other problem between the starter. Bummer. I don't know what it is. Alright. I expected there might possibly be something else though. So we'll shut it off. Something else to figure out. I got it working. Mostly just a low charge, I think. This knob on the panel, it's got off. First battery, second battery, both. I turned it to both and I could hear it turning. I thought the starter was definitely making a noise, but I couldn't tell if the engine was actually turning over. So I came down and closed the decompression valves like that, and then it was just going click, 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 click. It just, you know, like a dead battery kind of a noise. So I came back down, opened the decompression valve. On this belt, I have markings. There was a white label here. So I was looking at this, and I was looking at this, which runs off the crank as well. The first time I tried it, I hadn't paid attention to the belt. I was only watching that. I'm like, I can't tell that it spun. Maybe it stopped in the exact same place. Maybe it hadn't turned at all. So then I realized that there was a marking on this belt here. Let me spin it. This is how you hand crank this thing over. Put the C-grabs on here. But I noticed when, see if I can find it right here. That right there, see that white thing go by? That's what I use for my mark. So that white thing was parked right here, that little label. So I know that it spun because it was not there anymore to look at. So that was my reference for verifying that the motor is actually turning over. Where'd it go? It'll come back around here. Right there. So crank it, that thing goes away. I suppose I could have also left this on here because when this thing spins, it pushes it off. So there it is. One problem solved. We just got to charge these batteries up, and that's that. Starter problem is fixed. Nice. So I'll disconnect these batteries, pull them out of here, and then we're going to get into this. So we're going to pull this Galley apart, deal with these problems here. Just to recap what I need to do. See that box on the bottom to the left of the range, the oven? That's the fridge. The fridge, that all needs to come apart and come out of there. That box sitting in top of it there, it's got oil and some other odds and ends in there. That's got to come out so that I can get this out over here. I'll get that apart. I'll take apart this as well. The sink is under there, buried underneath that pile of junk. So that'll come out. The oven, I actually need to change the orifice. Right now it's running on compressed natural gas. So I need to figure out where that orifice is. Order one that's for propane, because this is getting swapped over to propane. It's really weird that this one came with compressed natural gas, because the lockers on the left or right side, those lockers are both propane, 20-pound propane cylinder lockers. So it holds two. This is the only thing that runs on gas. I might try to plumb this thing directly into that locker out there and find a way to vent that to open air. I did fire that range up earlier. It works good. Everything so far is functioning. All the equipment, all the expensive stuff. So let me reorganize here, get into this galley, and I will set up a time lapse. You can watch it all come apart. Okay, I finally got this cleaned up. Here's the fridge. This door has not been attached, so it just comes off of there. That'll be easy. And I've showed the fridge to you guys before. One thing you haven't seen, because it was full of stuff, is this storage locker here. It's pretty good size, right next to the sink. And it has a second level down below it. I don't know if you can see that, but huge amounts of storage there. So I'm going to set up the time lapse now and start pulling this galley apart. All right. Well, that might be the most complicated thing I've taken apart so far on this boat. It took quite a while, and I still have some things that seem odd to me. I haven't fully taken it apart. But let me show you what I did in the galley today. First of all, I made a huge mess. There's the range, oven, dual sinks. That one there is really nasty. That's the top of the refrigerator freezer. I can't believe they thought it would be a good idea to use wood for that top. It's nasty. If I flip it down, that's the countertop for the sink. It still has the spigot in there. And that is the cabinet that was up against the side of the boat. And the aft cabinet, you can see pieces of it sitting underneath there. It came apart really hard. So here's the galley. Here's the plumbing under the sink. This threw me for kind of a loop here. Though I think the water line is like 4 feet down from that edge there. So I guess this is a little below 4 feet, but that drain for the sinks drains directly through the hole in the bottom. I would think these pipes would be full of water all the time. That being the case, I think it has to be. Up to whatever the water level is outside. Apparently it's below the bottoms of those sink drains. But I thought that was odd. Doesn't really seem like a good idea. There's the foot pump, which I assume is fresh water coming out of the tanks. And the braided looking hose is the hot. Translucent orange line is the cold. That there's the gas line for the range. Just a look at everything. And here's the top of the fridge. I didn't pull the fridge out entirely yet. There's Freon in this system. I'd like to have somebody come extract it. And then what I'd like to do is insulate this tub very, very well. Maybe 2 inches of urethane foam, whatever I have room for. It looks like there might be room for 2, maybe even 2.5 inches of insulation. It's actually a bit more roomy than I thought it was in there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do as far as rebuilding this fridge. Perhaps you remember I was tempted to do a fridge freeze underneath that settee bench over there. That's what I was thinking I might do. And just convert this into more storage or something else. But maybe I'll leave it here. It's a pretty good sized fridge. The only freezer part is that little bit there. So that's what we got. I haven't found any markings or labels on that yet. Unfortunately, this bulkhead behind it is soft. Poke right through there. That hole. We're looking at the bottom of the cockpit here. Well, not the bottom. It's the step into the companionway. So this has to come out. This is definitely some kind of a bulkhead, as is this. There's actually, all 4 of these are tabbed into the hull. So they're offering some support. The stringer is not good. So I'm going to need to do something about that. And I'm still not entirely sure where this water is coming from. Oh, that's soaked right there. That's the wet spot. There's a hole there. So maybe it's coming from up on the deck somewhere. I'll have to look. That's today's project. Maybe I shouldn't say it, but boy, that took a lot longer than I thought it would. I guess that's the nature of working on boats. I got one more announcement, I guess. I think I'm probably going to leave this boat on the hard for the summer. I was originally planning on splashing in April or early May here and continuing to work on the boat while it was on the mooring ball. But I feel like I'll be more productive working on this boat if I keep it on the hard for the summer. I have my McGregor 21, my little tiny boat. Maybe I'll put that on the mooring ball for the summer. I mean, it is a trailer sailor. It doesn't need to be on a mooring ball. But I just think it's going to get a lot more use if I keep the mast up and keep it all ready to go with the sails flaked onto the boom and the sail cover on. That way I can just come over here and go, versus having to trailer it somewhere, stand the mast up, rig everything, put it all together just to go out and do some sailing. So in the interest of getting more time on the water, I think it might spend the summer on a mooring ball here at Chipman Point Marina. So I can still come over here and camp out in the little boat in the McGregor 21 3 nights a week and spend my days either working on the boat, which will be the primary job over here, or taking the occasion to go do some sailing. I think that's where we're at as far as this summer goes. And maybe if I work real hard on this, maybe I can still get it ready to splash in the fall. But we'll see. It's looking like it might take longer than that. I wasn't looking to have this thing done. I was looking to have it ready to be sail worthy, get in the water and go do things, and then I could continue the refit in the water after it's been splashed. Well, as always, any ideas you have, refit-wise, love to hear your suggestions, your thoughts about things. Thanks for watching, and have a nice week. I want to thank those that have subscribed to my channel, or like, share, and comment on my videos. If you're new to my channel, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps me to gain traction here on YouTube.